What's up, y'all? JC, Southern Outdoor Survival, Part 2, Edible and Medicinal Plants series. This is plants and stuff you can find readily in your backyard, front yard, roadsides, uh, vacant lots, sidewalks. But first, let me put my disclaimer in there. I'm not an expert. I don't claim to be an expert. Any information you receive from me, please verify it with your own research. First of all, this one's going to be on Part 2. This is going to be learning characteristics on how to recognize medicinal and edible plants. Plants come in all shapes and sizes, and it can be overwhelming to try to figure out what to look for. So you need to break it down in categories. First, get you a field guide. Peterson's Field Guide to Wild Edibles is one of the excellent resources to have. It's got pictures in it. It's broke down into categories, the color of the flowers, but some of the characteristics you need to start learning what to look for. Leaves. Leaf is a big part of a plant, and it's some of the easiest things to start learning to recognize. First of all, let's start with the style of leaf. Whether it's smooth on the edges, whether it's toothed, whether it's double toothed, maybe it's lobed, kind of like an oak tree. Some of the shapes of the leaf, whether it's a heart shape or a star shape, kind of like on a sweet gum tree, whether it's linear, like a blade on a daylily, whether it's oval, whether it's lance shaped, whether it's pear shaped, where it's narrow at the stem and fat at the back end. And then the way the leaves come off a stem, that's another characteristic to look for. Whether it's coming off on an alternate pattern, so one's, they're zigzagging back and forth, or they're on opposite sides. Perfect example of that is heel all, or all heel, whatever you want to call it. The leaves come off opposite on the stems, and it's just two leaves along the stem, alternating down, but they're on the opposite sides. Fan shaped, whether it's kind of like a palm. A compound, which is where you have more than one leaf coming off a stem. Learning the characteristics of leaves is a great way to get started, because you're not going to always have the flowers to look for. Flowers is another characteristic to look for. When do they bloom? What part of the season do they bloom? What to look for? What's the coloration of them? There's all kind of different characteristics, but you start trying to break it down into smaller categories, it makes it easier to learn to recognize. And once you start getting to where you can recognize, okay, that's a dandelion. We all know that. That's wood sorrel. That's a plantain. Once you start being able to recognize the different patterns that they have, it makes it a whole lot easier to understand what you're looking for, and it's not so overwhelming. But again, this was part 2. If you liked it, please like and share it for me. If you got a comment, leave a comment and I'll respond. I'm also going to start the series on YouTube a little bit later. It's going to be a more in-depth look at what you're looking for, on each plant. But again, this is JC, Southern Outdoors and Survival. Y'all keep it real.